Good evening and welcome to Success in the City. My name is Helen Webster. I'm with the lovely
Sandra Scott and our fabulous guest today,
Brian Quinn. Hello.
Hello, Brian.
We're just going to do this all the way through the show. Just give Brian.
We are going to be like this the whole time.
100%.
Definitely.
Seals. Okay.
I know. Yeah. Okay. So shout out to the kids. Any little people who've done amazing things this week. Shall I go first? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first, Helen.
Okay, I'm going to give a massive shout out. So I started a little fitness club in May Logan Centre, and it's for parents and little people. And we had some nanas who, because obviously quite a lot of grandparents look after their children, the grandchildren. So we had a few nans and an auntie and then a brand new baby. But we had 4 of the most gorgeous little ones, and one of them was just the cutest. So they play in the nursery part, and we do a bit of exercise. But if they want to come in, they can. This little Rhea comes in. Oh my God! And I was like, "Can you wiggle?" And she was just the cutest thing ever. She was just gorgeous. So I'm going to shout out to all of them because they were all really well behaved. Towards the end, they got a little bit tetchy, not sharing, and was fruit. These little plastic fruits were going everywhere because they were fuming because they had to share. but they were amazing. So big shout out to them. I love them. When the 3, the ace on.
When the 3, oh my God.
The ace, yeah. So they were all fuming with each other and everything, but they were boss. They were brilliant. So I'm going to give a shout out to all of them for being great today. What about you, Sam?
So I haven't got any little people at all to give a shout out to, but I am going to give a shout out to our friend's daughter who's a grown up, Dana, who came on the show a while ago, didn't she? A few years ago, and did a presentation for us, or presented it while I wasn't there, because she's helping me out with some tutoring work, so she's doing a great job. So I was delighted. So shout out to Dana.
Well done, Dana. What about you, Brian?
So I will shout out to a little 3-year-old as well. So I had a nursery day today. As you know, I have a children's nursery, don't I? So I had a day there with the management team, which was amazing. And while I was there was a little boy. We have like an emotions tree. And so I was there today because we were doing staff photos and all of that kind of stuff. And we have an emotions tree where the children express their emotions, and we write them down and we hang them on the tree, and we can choose other ones and all of this kind of stuff. And anyway, he got his leg trapped because another little boy pulled his chair in too close and it trapped his foot, and it really hurt, and he cried very loud. Shouted out, "That wasn't very kind." And I just smiled to myself while the teacher was going, "That was a really good expression of your emotions then." Bleep bleep, what his name was, and she encouraged him to write his feelings.
You saw that when you said bleep bleep.
No, I'm just bleeping his name.
Yeah.
And it was just dead good. So doing already what we set out to do there. It was amazing getting them to express.
Oh, that is just the cute.
That was very kind.
So a little shout out to it for knowing that.
That's clever at 3, isn't it?
Really good, yeah. Really good.
They are amazing. This little one picked a lemon up and she come over and she gave me this lemon. So I pretended to eat it and she went, "Is it a bit sour?"
Awesome.
And I was like, "You're 3. That's cool.
Cool.
Is it a bit sour?" Yeah. Cute. Okay. Success this week for you personally. Something amazing that's happened to you. We're going to learn. We've all got the same success. Brian's is on another level.
Yeah.
Slightly higher than ours. So we'll find out a little bit more about that. Have you got something else that's happened apart from Wednesday night?
Brian.
Pretty cool on Thursday, right?
What? You talk about Thursday?
Yeah, pretty cool on Thursday.
So yeah, I managed to get up sober on Thursday after Wednesday night and fly to Brussels. So I suppose that's a success, isn't it? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a massive success because I didn't wake up sober.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute because that was hilarious. That was such a brilliant event, wasn't it?
So my success for last week was I had a coffee in Waterstones with Uncle Ron on Friday. So it was ace. We went and had coffee and we were there and we were having a little chat and you know, as you do. And next thing, 2 hours had just gone. 2 hours had just disappeared, and we'd had a little cup of tea and then we had a coffee and we had a little catch up. So that was gorgeous. And then yesterday I launched my cookery course in May Logan Centre. And so we're allowed 5 people, 5 to 6 people on the course. And when I put the flyer out, the phone was just like going, and I was going, yeah, there'll be room, yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, so I had 12 people. So I was like, oh no, I said, should we just double up on all the stations? And they were like, yeah, not everyone comes anyway. And I was like, I know. So set it all up, put me Christmas tunes on, I'd done my Christmas soup menu, and all 12 came.
But that shows, though, I'm not being funny, Helen, that's a testament to yourself because you've done stuff there before. Absolutely. And also, as well, it shows if you give people what they want, they'll turn up.
Honestly, we had a ball. We had an absolute ball. It was lovely. There was people there who were like, you know, slightly anxious about coming out, and I'd met them on Friday and said, come and have a coffee with me and then I'll show you what we're going to do and everything. Yeah. And when they turn up, I get this like massive get in there, you know, when they turn up. And they turned up and they were just, and then we had this lovely lady who was next to this other one, and she was like, they were helping each other. And it's just about coming together, having a little chat, helping each other, just all being in the one room, doing the same thing. And then there's a sense of achievement at the end because you've cooked your own thing, and then you take that food home. And then I've made the soup in the morning. So then I share my soup with everybody. So then we all share food, which is a lovely thing, because some people, you know, they live on their own and they don't get the chance to eat. And I was like, if it's horrible, I'm not offended. But anyway, there was rave reviews. Everyone loved it. So that was our first. So it was ace. So yeah, so that was cool.
It's an awesome thing to do in the community, that, mate.
And it's gorgeous. It really is. It's a gorgeous thing. It's
really lovely.
It really is a lovely thing to do.
I screenshot the recipe, so I'm going to have a go as well.
I'll print one out if you want.
Oh, yeah, please do, God.
So if Brian Quinn Sr. lived in your neck of the woods, I'd have him round there with you. He'd love that.
Oh, yeah, make it, of course he would.
Honestly, it was amazing, yeah. There's loads of people who you know, just go buy it and just set one up somewhere. Just go and do a little something. It's just fun. What's your success plan?
My success is what we're not talking about, though. That's what my success was.
I know, but you must have had something else.
Yeah, I didn't fall over at that event with my heels on.
Well done. Did you bang your head?
No. Did you?
No, I didn't bang my head.
I mean, in there. But also, what no one knows is when no one was looking, I took my shoes off to go down the stairs, the little stone stairs. I was like that, and then went. It's because it is so narrow and you have to be very careful. So my success of the week was the event, which we're not talking about until in a minute, but I didn't fall over, which was my main thing.
Brilliant. Well done.
And my red face, I'm going to say now, I've been sat in the other room with the heater on, blowing out extra air, and I'm working with my face is like an absolute beetroot because of it. And I was like that, and it's calmed down. It was absolutely bright. And Rona went,
oh, you just look quite well.
No, I'm like burning on. And I was like, what?
You look like Aunt Sally with little cheeks.
My face is on fire. I look like I've done a Aunt Sally on my face also. It's absolutely burning hot. So I was like, oh my God. I was just working away. Didn't realise the time. Didn't realise how warm it was. I was typing away on the laptop. And I was like, oh my goodness. And my face is on fire. So that's my embarrassing moment already, or genuine red face.
Genuine red face.
Sure. Okay, we're going to play this or that. Okay. Am I going first or you?
You go first.
Okay. Would you rather have, I'm going to ask you first, Brian.
Yeah.
Unlimited time or unlimited money?
Oh my God.
Ooh, unlimited time.
What about you, Sam?
I'd rather have unlimited time. But the problem is, it's the pressure, isn't it? Of fine. This is why you work for money. If you've got loads of money, you don't have time. If they say if you've got loads of money, loads of time, you don't have money. So it's about it's trying to get the balance, isn't it? But if I had to choose one or the other, it's time.
Yeah, 100%. I thought we'd all go for time. Yeah, time.
Load of old people. Doing your cookery class, Helen?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh yeah, because you can just do what you want. Okay, start with Brian on this one. Brian, would you rather have a hot soup in winter or a hot pudding?
Hot soup, savoury all the way.
Oh.
Hell?
Hot pudding all the way. Even though I've had soup every single night this week.
I like soup. I like soup, but if it's one or the other, it's a pudding. Yeah. Forever and ever.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah. Okay. Hal?
I'm going to ask you first this time, Sam.
Go on.
Voice memos, you know, like the little voice. I don't even know what they're called.
Voice memos.
Are they?
Voice notes.
On WhatsApp.
Voice notes.
Voice notes. That's it. Yeah. Voice note or proper message.
Oh. Well, are you asking me first, Hal? Okay, they are easier if it's someone needs to say a bit. If you're driving something like that, you can just listen to a voice note, but you're not meant to touch your phone in the car. It's just a lot easier. It's a lot easier on the move, shall we say, to use a voice note.
Yeah.
And it depends on the length of the message as well. I have had an 8-minute long one, which I found quite challenging.
Oh,
I've had a few of them left to me. It's all by the same person, like loads of them.
That's a voice essay.
And I just think,
voice dissertation.
And they go, and you know, what I was thinking, and you're like, I find that, especially, and they're both, when it's business related, you just think, oh, get to the point. That's the only thing, you know, which might sound uncharitable. But
so
I know.
Rachel just put a comment on saying that James has just sent me a voice note.
Oh, it's dead cute when you get them off kids and they go, thank you.
I love it. I get a voice
note. They're dead cute.
Oh, and Christine Penner is like the queen of voice notes. She's left me one as well.
Oh, she left me a one.
So what about you then, Sam? Voice note or voice message? Voice note or message?
Well, so for me, it's probably voice notes actually because it's easier. What about you, Brian? Did you say?
I've got to pull the depends card here. Depends on the app, depends on the person, depends on the circumstances. Of course, none of us do it while we're driving, do we?
No.
So yeah, some people that I work and collaborate with are very fond of them. So it's a kind of just agreed medium, and some people I wouldn't dream in a million years of sending a voice note to. I wouldn't send a voice note to my dad, for example. He'd still be trying to find it next year.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Well, yeah, I do love them. I think they're super efficient, and yeah, I can definitely get across in a voice note something that I'd have to think a lot more about writing. Yeah.
I like getting voice notes, so I like getting them from little people. So I love it, like when the kids send me a little message because it's the cutest thing. And I've had like a few and you know, things like that. But sometimes I think, oh, just send me a quick little message that I can just read, and I haven't got to think about pressing a button and listening to it. And yeah, that's. But I very rarely send them because I forget about it. But I remember, so Christine Penman, she won't mind me sharing this. We've got a little group on our early bird fitness classes, and Lynn's deaf, and it was Lynn's birthday. And Christine Penno was going somewhere and sang happy birthday on the voice note. So I had to say, Lynn thought it was hilarious. Lynn thought it was absolutely, and Christine was like, oh no, what have I done? And it was like, no, it's cool. Because you just automatically go, oh yeah, I'll just send that happy birthday, won't you?
What was Penno's red-faced moment, hey?
That's hilarious though.
Oh, hilarious. It was fun. Okay. Your go, Sam.
Okay, then. Going back to what you were saying then, Would you rather type a text or use the talk to type feature where you speak and it types it for you? Do you use that at all, Hel?
No, because it never understands, and then you have to go back and read it and change all the words anyway. So I'd rather just type it myself.
So you press the little microphone and do it, and it comes up in the language as well. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Brian?
So the only time I do that is when the phone decides it's doing it itself and starts recording me and trying to send it to everyone in the world. And sometimes that can be a red-faced moment. So yeah, no, I type it and then correct it and then edit it and then correct it.
So I use them sometimes.
I know.
It's a bit longer. It's been done on that.
And then you think you have to decipher it, and you go, "Oh, that means that word, isn't it?"
Oh no, that's when I type it, and I'll have it in the wrong language. The phone, I do that all the time, and it comes up. You should have seen what I sent to. Do you know Claire Morton, who we had on the show? I sent her a butte this morning, and she laughed. Oh my god, it was awful. But instead of fabulous,
trying to join in.
What's that? Oh, the dog's there. Oh. Claire Morton.
Okay.
Absolutely hilarious. I'll find it.
That can be your face for later. Brian, would you rather write a best-selling novel or direct a blockbuster movie?
Direct a blockbuster movie.
Would you?
Yeah. Visual learner.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
No, defo write a bestseller. 100%.
Yeah. I'd like to write a bestseller that then gets made into a movie.
Hi, Brian.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Des is asking if he got all this stuff on his phone.
Des. That's what I sent instead of fabulous this morning.
Oh dear.
Claire Morton, the shame of it. Honest to God.
Go on, Samuel, let's go.
Okay. Would you rather go out for a meal, Brian?
Yes.
Or be at home with friends? Go out for a meal with friends or be at home with friends?
Oh, go out with friends, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
All of us out.
Out. It's been a lot of that lately.
Out.
Have I got this stuff on my phone? Yes, you have, Des.
So Brian has kindly given his time tonight. He is a massive, massive success in our city.
Really is.
What happened last week is like really, I don't think people understand how good it is for the city, how good it is for the region, how good it is for the Northwest.
Very much.
It goes like ripples a little bit more.
Sorry. Excuse me one second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now he's left, yeah.
Now he's gone to lock the dog out.
No, it's massive though, isn't it, Helen?
Yeah, 100%.
And he's going to talk about it in a minute and what it is, etc.
Oh, sorry.
And why it's massive is we've usurped London, which is brilliant. We love that.
And Manchester.
And Manchester, yeah. We've leapfrogged, which I'm always sure should be leapt-frogged, but we've leapfrogged over several cities, and it's really cool. So, Brian, would you like to explain what a wonderful event we went to?
Just smiling at you two being all territorial, but yeah, why not? Proud of the city, yeah, and proud of first for us. So, look, you know, no problem on time. My pleasure to be here, and thank you both very much for the opportunity to chat to your viewers, listeners, which is great. So yeah, last week we launched the first Corporate Connections chapter for Liverpool City region, which is pretty groundbreaking. It's a first for the Northwest. It's a first for the city. And we join 1,200 other members across the globe in a global franchise, in a premier network platform for business leaders, which is incredible. And if none of those keywords kind of mean anything or land anywhere, my favorite vernacular right now is we've brought together a group of amazing, gorgeous leaders in the city region, and formed a group and plugged that into another 1,200 amazing global leaders. The vast majority of whom, over 75%, by the way, are business owners. So they own very, very successful businesses, and they come together primarily to connect with one another and to look at their own business and grow in that business, their own community and what they can do for that community, and how they can share that with the rest of the world. So those kind of three things feature wherever you might be as a Corporate Connections member in the world. And I feel very proud and very privileged to have had the opportunity and to have created the first group that's kind of plugged into that global success. Because of course it's been going for over 15 years around the world, and it was first kind of conceptualized by our global president, Robert Gervais, who, you know, sent us a very beautiful message on the night, 2004.
Wow, amazing. So how did you get into, or how did you find out about Corporate Connections?
Yeah.
So I found out from a very, very good friend, so a very long, old friend, who many of your viewers will know, certainly you guys know, called Terry Hamill, because he became one of two national directors for the UK. So Terry and Pete Higgs, national directors for Corporate Connections in the United Kingdom, basically bought the franchise for the UK and brought it here. And I didn't know Pete at that time. I do know him now. And if he's listening, I'd like to make a very clear statement that he is a good friend, not fast becoming, as I said the other night, and he pulled me up on my NLP. It was good. He's an amazingly generous man, and I do know him quite well. But a year and a half, 2 years ago, I didn't know him. Terry rang me up and said, this is going to happen. Do you want to do Liverpool? And I was like, yeah, but I didn't really even know what it was at the time. And as I was speaking about on Friday in Brussels, which I was saying to you earlier before we came on live, Helen, chatting to the group of people there, it's about meaningful relationship. It's one of the core values of Corporate Connections, and it's the reason I said yes ultimately when it came to signing the franchise document, because I'd been and seen that around the world and tested it out. And meaningful relationship is where, you know, good business starts. So yeah. But yeah, that's the kind of shortest answer to your question.
And you make it sound dead easy though, Brian, with the way you said that then. Oh yeah, and I agree to do it, and that's that. But it's not easy, is it? And it's been quite a journey for you, a solo journey as well in a lot of ways locally.
Sure. And I've had a lot of help, and I've had a lot of belief. But you know, nothing in life that's worth having is easy, is it? Let's be honest. You know, whether that's sitting an economics exam at the age of 16.
Yeah.
One of the worst moments of my life, and other things, you know, where we just have no belief in ourselves whatsoever. You know, I can remember terms like the bills of lading from my economics exam when I was 15, 16, but still to this day don't know what it means in any practical way. It's probably why I became a hairdresser at that time in my life. And I probably wouldn't have also at the age of 15 or 16 believed that at the age of 32 I'd go to university as a mature student and study applied psychology and never regret a single moment or a single, lecture from it either.
Yeah.
Or travel like, thousands of miles from, for example, Japan, have 2 hours sleep and then go to a lecture, as one of my lecturers used to brag about. When most people were asleep in their lectures, I'd be like, wow, really? Why do people do that? Because it's what turns us on, it's what fascinates us and what engages us, isn't it? And And so, yeah, you know, I love my city. You both know that, and we've chatted about that lots of times. And I saw an opportunity to bring something new to the city, and I felt mostly suitably qualified to do it.
And has it been difficult getting people to sort of share your vision and join the group, etc.?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Think about something that you don't know anything about. What don't you know anything about, Hell? Nothing. Anything at all in the world.
Fractions.
No, I'm quite good. I'm not very good. I don't know anything about sciencey, like the space and things like that.
Okay. So when we don't know anything about anything, all we have is, why would I want to know that? I don't know anything about that. Or we have a resistance to it, a natural resistance to it, or it's an alien feel. And often as humans, we operate in a kind of comfort zone, don't we? You know, my old friend Johnny Haynes used to talk a lot about that. Step out your comfort zone, step out your comfort zone, step out your comfort zone. So if we don't know anything about something, then all we have is, why do I want to know about it? And a bunch of questions then to find out about it. So, you know, one of the challenges was really just about layering information across the UK to people in business about what Corporate Connections is, what it offers, what's in it for me. But that's a process of kind of learning, and it's a layering kind of experience, and it takes time, and it took longer than maybe I thought it would to launch the first group, but I don't regret a moment of that in actual fact, and the group of people that we've brought together and how that fits into the global community, and we've reached a landmark, and now, you know, everyone's feeling very celebratory about that, and everybody's like, oh wow, it happened. And it's like, yeah, it did. It was always going to happen. Yeah, you know, and I never really had any doubts about that, but there were days when it was like super frustrating, because we're trying to take a lot of information about something that is, you know, in its rawest form, very simple. Let's bring the best leaders in the world together, and let's get them to collaborate and to share and to be able to celebrate. You know, if you look at my LinkedIn posts, most of them start with the 3 C's, we call them, which is connect, collaborate, and then we celebrate. And it's a great cycle of how we work in Corporate Connections. But I'm very glad to be bringing it here, telling people about it, getting people who kind of like share the vision and share the values, and seeing where that matches and overlaps with their own aspirations, and for the city, for their own business, for our communities, and seeing things come from that. You know, some amazing stuff is happening around the world as a result of it, you know.
Brilliant. And we've got a hi friends. Hola, Julio Herrera Vidal, who came on the shows from Argentina. So, hola, buenas tardes.
I was just going to say, Brian, what you were talking about, where we've sort of like gone through a little bit of the same thing. I always thought people would want to be the first. I want to be the first to do that. I want to be the first to be in that group. I want to be the first to do this. And it was only when somebody said, oh, people don't want to be the first, you know, they want to see what's going on. And then they'll. So I think you've got sort of maybe 2 types of personalities, whatever, where some people go, yeah, I'll definitely be the first on that. And others want to sit back, watch, make sure that everything's okay. And then they go, okay, they're doing what they say they're going to do. I'll now take that step into it, you know.
Sure. Early adopters, pioneers, vanguards, you know, we know about this, and you know, in the past 25 years of my life working in post-16 education, I had to, I wanted to kind of vanguard in my company around a lot of initiatives. So whether that was a government pilot, or whether it was just kind of like, you know, every new electronic or technological device that was invented, I would get one, because ultimately I was responsible for making sure the kids didn't fall foul of it. You know, and so yeah, you know, learning things like Facebook and Snapchat and God knows what over the years, there was a reason for me to vanguard that in my organization then. And so, networking is a very similar thing. So some people do want to sit back and watch and see, does one network, work and create, and other people want to sit back and be a later adopter and go, congratulations, well done. And in fact, conversations with business leaders who've gone, you know what, this is not for me right now. I wish you the very best of it. And if you get there and it's live and you go in, then if you feel it's appropriate, please contact me and we'll chat then. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't all want to dive into the latest thing straight away. And you might think that's a bit odd in a global network that's been going 15 plus years and was first envisaged 20 years ago by the global president, Robert. But in actual fact, that's not their daily experience. So if your business and your life and your community is here in Liverpool and it's not part of Liverpool yet, then let's wait and see what happens in Liverpool, and I might come along later. Okay, great. But for people who have taken up early adoption, there are benefits to that. Lots of different benefits, so the first to tap into that global network, the first to be exploring that, the first to be able to go to the first European summit in Brussels, which I had the great privilege to be able to do last Friday, straight out of our lunch on Wednesday night, which is why I need to stay reasonably sober. And that was phenomenal. I think you both met Yuri and Eric, who came from the Netherlands and from Belgium. So they had a massive gig, twice the size of mine actually, on Friday morning, and it was amazing that they came and they shared with us. But that's what the Corporate Connections community do, and I've been very privileged. So whilst I've been building the Liverpool region and sharing the word with the other franchisees across the UK, I've also been going and taking opportunities to go meet the global community. And I've been able to do that in 2 global conventions, with kind of 500-600 delegates from around the world at both of those in Lisbon and Mexico. And that sounds all very amazing and fancy and gorgeous, and both of them were in their own rights. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, both very warm, sunny, beautiful places, but also spending quality time and getting to know the national directors and the executive directors who run the regions and the members themselves and their businesses. And being able to connect, people here in the Liverpool City region or in the Northwest or even in the UK, which happens sometimes. I mean, in very genuine circumstances, with the opportunity to meet somebody and shortcut all of that possibility or all of that private searching that would be necessary otherwise, to say, so you're a business leader who represents 25 businesses in Malaysia, for example, and you're a key partner in a national law firm in the United Kingdom, and you want someone to represent your UK business and your members' business interests in the UK, and you wouldn't mind having some international business representation for the people who do business with the UK.
Yes.
And I can actually put them 2 people together. Then that was worth every single penny that I spent to go to Mexico.
Definitely.
And so, and then to be able to provide that connection and that service and be sure of that to my clients here in the Liverpool City region or the Northwest is what that's all about. And it's incredible, to see it work. So to see meaningful relationship in action is incredible. Yeah.
Well, the event on Wednesday was absolutely lovely, and we were just so privileged to go there. So thank you.
We'll talk about the event because it was so cool.
Oh, it was just amazing.
Paul Taylor's listening in, and he said, "Well done, Brian Quinn. Well deserved success, and a little person like that."
That's very nice. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you.
So who's starting with Wednesday night then? Go on.
So do you want me to explain the context of Wednesday night?
Yeah,
Will that be helpful?
some people don't know what we're talking about, so yeah.
Okay, so when we meet, obviously we want to meet somewhere that's conducive to, you know, business, that's conducive to the Corporate Connections brand, that and kind of encapsulates all of those core values around a culture of excellence, meaningful relationships, extraordinary experiences, seamless and simple, and so really we're choosing where we meet and the environment and how that feels. You know, I spent a lot of time around that, and so when I knew that I had the franchise, I asked my friend Paul Askew, who is chef patron at the Art School restaurant, would he think about letting us use the restaurant private dining room as a meeting place. So I know Paul. I've known Paul a long time, and as time's gone on, I've got to know him in lots of different ways, and in the last year and a half, in a very kind of consolidated business sense. And it made sense to me that restaurants and of that caliber would be places where people do business. I didn't kind of know to what extent actually that was the reality. I do now, and we've added to that. And, you know, Paul was very gracious, and we spoke about Corporate Connections and what it was. And I imagine he went away and Googled and did his own due diligence. I'm sure he did. I would. And I told him about my experience of it, and we continued to chat and have coffee. So I knew all about Paul, and I knew all about his standards. I had my wedding. Kevin and I were married at the Cotton Exchange, and we had our wedding reception at the Hope Street Hotel. And at the time, Paul was a shareholder owner of that, and we had an incredible experience there. So I knew it was, you know, top drawer.
Top, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we have a shared experience in British Airways. And so, you know, working at a kind of premier kind of service was important. And so we chatted about it. Anyway, the long and the short of it was, we agreed that the Moriarty private dining room would be the home of Corporate Connections Chapter 1 for the Liverpool City region. And that's what we've been doing over the last 12 months, building that group, bringing people along there to meet with us. And so it seemed only right that when we had the kind of like gala launch of it, that we should have dinner there. So I asked Paul, could I hire the whole restaurant for the evening? And that's what we did. And we invited 50 people to dinner. Obviously the members and the members' partners or spouses or plus ones. And then we invited 20 people from the business community we've either been engaging with around the possibility of a membership for Corporate Connections, or people that we feel will be a great fit and would like to have in the room. And the members participated in that fully. And then we had some Corporate Connections people from around the world join us, as you know. And boy, did we have an amazing night. It was just utterly spectacular. And you just need to go and have a look at the LinkedIn posts by people who came along and thanked us for an amazing evening. It's spectacular. But what else would we expect? You know, if you know that team, they are absolutely phenomenal, and it was extraordinary. For me, it was you know, the icing on the cake was my husband and my dad, who've not been very well this year, got to be with me and have an amazing dinner. And who knows how long that can happen. So it was fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, it was the best event, wasn't it, Helen? And
I've never been to the art school, so I didn't even know where and you know, I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard, you know, and I know who Paul is. I've never met him, but you know, you sort of know the names and things. So I'd never even walked in the building before. And you know, we went downstairs into like the little cellar bar, which is unbelievable. And a lovely little reception in there with a glass of champagne, and then you go through and then you go into the dining room, which is just spectacular. Just spectacular. And then the food was just incredible, wasn't it?
And we've got Paul Askew coming on soon, haven't we? We're very excited about
great. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, because the food's just amazing, isn't it? It's on another level.
Yeah.
And it's his vision, isn't it? You know, of what he wants to bring the best to Liverpool, you know, and things like that.
You know, that's true of all of the members, and that's the kind of common ground. So, you know, one of the key things that Corporate Connections does is it plays a very active role in its community and developing its community. And all of the chapters, and for anyone who doesn't know what a chapter is, it just simply means a group of people, really, in this context. So it's that group for the global community. Are all actively involved in some way, shape, or form in giving something. And a shout out to the two national directors for the UK here. They pay the royalty of membership, so the franchisees like me across the United Kingdom can make sure that in every chapter, every group of members, there is a free seat to a charity. And that's a tremendous commitment, really. And it's not only that the community giving or, you know, the social enterprise is about charity, it's also about what the members care about. And that's up to the members to decide and get involved in and collaborate on and hopefully, you know, work around and improve and make a difference to. But yeah, one of the ways in which we've started that is with Northwest Cancer Research, and they're our charity, and that's been great. And it's been particularly great because I didn't know this, so fact, that they spend time working on funding roles in the Northwest and researching cancers that affect people in the Northwest. And that's incredible, I think, you know. And it happened at a time when, you know, cancer was affecting my life in particular. So yeah, no, it's been great to collaborate on that and to work with those guys, and I'm grateful to them for all of the work that they do. So
well, we had Jimmy on the show, didn't we? He was amazing.
He was our guest, wasn't he? I think you met him at the Corporate Connections, one of the Corporate Connections events, and said, and he came on and he shared this story, and he was just
he's amazing person.
And then he stood up and he spoke at the event, and you could hear a pin drop when he was talking, because again, he's an authentic, you know, it's happened to him, and it's, you know, what he then went on to, same sort of ethos he wanted to go in to help. And, you know, when he was saying it was about the Northwest and this is what's happening in the Northwest, is phenomenal, you know. And they do amazing work. They really, really do. And he spoke very passionately and really, really well, didn't he? You know, he's a great guy, isn't he?
Yes, so just fantastic.
Yeah, really
exciting. So what next, Brian?
So obviously, so when a group is launched, it you know, it kind of like it gets involved in its own leadership in many respects, and so whilst I'll always be part of that first group, I will work with other people in the city to grow other groups. In fact, we're already embarked on, you know, the start of Group 2, which will build from January, and again in another really beautiful and iconic place. I won't say anything more about that right now, but it's going to be in a really beautiful, iconic place in the city, somewhere where you would expect big business to be happening, you know, and it does. So that will be another great collaboration, really. But also building, you know, that first group. So the members ultimately make the decisions over who joins that group, and the members are obviously at liberty to invite suitable people and people who qualify and are eligible to join the group to come along as guests for a couple of visits, to have a look at that and to meet the members and to engage with them and to consider whether that's something for them. And there are kind of like two elements to Corporate Connections membership, really. And I should say this, I suppose. And one is that obviously one of the key purposes and functions is for bringing leaders together so that they can connect, make a meaningful relationship, and as a result of that, they will catalyst the growth of their own organizations in appropriate ways. But another aspect of that is about, we call it forum. And forum is a way and a place and a confidential space and manner for leaders to come together confidentially and support and guide one another. Not advice, it's not about advice giving, but a confidential space for people to connect on the most important and the most challenging aspects of their life and their business and their career. And an example I always speak about when I'm explaining this is those moments as a business leader when you walk holes in the carpet or the floor all night, and you don't tell anyone. You certainly don't share it with your employees because you don't want to worry anybody or give it the wrong space. So that kind of confidential space where as the leader of an organization, you can go and you know that you can take something of great importance, share it and trust that it's not going to be beyond that space.
Yeah.
And come away with some ideas, some experience of others by which you can self-resolve that issue or begin to resolve that issue and unpick it in a way that when you're on your own, you've got no sounding board. And it's something that's beautifully crafted and honed by Corporate Connections globally, and something it trains its members very specifically and in a very diligent way to be able to achieve and get the most from. And that's half of what we do, but no one else sees that because, of course, that's highly confidential.
Yeah, it's within the group, isn't it?
You know, we were all rubbing shoulders and supporting one another as business owners during COVID, and I had one of these moments. You know, there was a £25,000 hole in the cash flow, and it was a fortnight from payroll. No idea where to go with that, other than just, you know, we were all locked down at the time, and I did resolve it. Fortunately, we did, and we moved on, and life goes on. Thank goodness. But if I had my Corporate Connections group then, I wouldn't have angsted nearly as long as that took me to resolve. And it wouldn't have been so damaging to me personally or to my mental health.
Yeah.
At the time. So yeah, you know, there you go. There's a good example of the bit that we can't see.
Definitely a safe space. I know that. So I've just done a few little bits and pieces, and they do the action learning sets, and having a group of supportive people who are there to support you, not to give you, you know, not to give you the answers, but because you've got the answers inside, they'll bring the answers out of you. It's just invaluable, isn't it? You know, to be able to just go to somewhere and just go blah, 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 whatever, isn't it? You know, and you know it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I think the people who are like self-employed and they're a one-man band and maybe they're making something and selling it, that their issues are exactly the same as people who head up, you know, a multi-million pound business, because as you said, if it's a private owned, they don't want to share that. If they're at the top, they don't want to worry people. They may have shareholders. They don't want to worry them, etc. So they keep it all in, as you said, you know, when you've got lots of employees, you don't tell them everything, you just keep it in. So to have a separate forum that they can share that with is
also to develop our skill set, you know, and, you know, there's something immensely powerful in sharing with another entrepreneur, you know, sharing with another business leader, sharing with somebody else who's at that kind of level and responsibility of an organization, who understand you. You know, we did this in Brussels, you know, we sat in round tables throughout the day with different groups of people, and we shared, you know, on a kind of, you know, intimate personal level about some of the aspects of our business that we're trying to leverage growth and understanding and development around. And when you trust to do that and you trust the process, you know, you can come away with some of the most incredible connections, you know. And you know, that was no exception. I've come back and connected people in my membership here in the Liverpool City region with people in France today, and there's another connection taking place in Belgium. So yeah, you know, all of these things are great opportunities, but they're also the benefits of why you become a member. And when we look at the global model for corporate connections, depending on how you measure it, there's between 83 and 95% retention. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
that is phenomenal. And interestingly, when members are surveyed about why have you stayed, so
yeah,
Peter McCusker, for example, who lives in Canada, who's a great guy, and he runs Montreal too, which I visited on Zoom last week, which is a great experience. He's renewed 14 times, and you know, when I chatted with Peter about that, or when we chatted with Peter as a group here in the UK about it, as a matter of fact, and when members are surveyed in Corporate Connections globally, it always comes back to the same one or two things, either forum and what happens in forum, or meaningful relationships, which are both the same thing, really. You haven't got a functional forum unless you've got meaningful relationship, and actually people renew because of the meaningful relationships that they develop. And so I'm super hyped and super committed to that, to make sure that we get great leaders that become members of Corporate Connections in the Liverpool City region, and those relationships that are developed are truly meaningful and lifelong. So yeah, that's my mission.
Amazing. I love it. If people want to know more about Corporate Connections, how do they get in touch? Because it's the same people who can apply, certain people, you know, there's a process that it needs to go through. How do people, if somebody is watching maybe and they think, oh, you know, that seems quite, you know, interesting for me, well, what's the next step?
So becoming a member is really easy. It begins with a nice cup of coffee at a place of your choice. And basically that's how I spend my days, meeting people, having cups of coffee, learning about their business, and we take it from there. And if everything looks and feels right after that cup of coffee, which is usually about an hour, I'll arrange for them to come and see a meeting and see if they like it.
Brill. Lovely.
Take it from there.
Yeah.
Well, it was a super evening.
Oh, it was fantastic.
I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for being with us.
The people in the room, everybody was gorgeous. You know, everybody was just on the same level. Everybody was just talking to each other. It was just incredible. We did have
most importantly, that was the purpose of the night, just to celebrate. It wasn't about business on the night. Business comes later, but yeah, the night was just about celebration, and where better to be and eating amazing food, and you know, the wine pairing with all of that food. Wow.
Oh, it was just
unbelievable. And they just appear like little magicians and fill you.
If you like that thing, yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Other drinks are also available. Coke, water. Yeah.
Beautiful. My Uncle Ron says the Moriarty dining room. Where was Sherlock Holmes?
Well, hold on. You will learn a lot more about that when Paul Askew himself comes on and tells us all about it.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So there we go. We'll keep that one under wraps until he comes on. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Brian. It was an amazing event. Thank you for the invitation. We absolutely
thank you very much indeed, and thank you for tonight.
Okay, red face moment.
100.
Sandra's face has died down a little bit now.
A little bit. It was horrendously beetroot.
Do you have another red face moment to share?
Not one to share today. I can't share it, but that's that. Just the usual nonsense.
Mine was, I went to the gym on Friday morning before I went to work. And I'm in Bull, so I don't just wear my workout clothes. I wear like other, you know, like pants and things. And I forgot my shoes. So I had to walk around with bright purple trainees on and navy blue pants and a jump. Well, that's my red faces. I forgot my shoes.
Might I say, talking about wearing other than gym wear, you look spectacular last Wednesday night.
Oh, thank you very much.
You really did.
Thank
you look
you very
amazing.
much.
Yeah,
I
very
loved
nice.
it. I loved it.
So I had a red face. I had a red face moment in a Corporate Connections meeting here in Liverpool recently. So a gentleman that visited us was a Spanish national. And I called him Miguel instead of Manuel 3 times.
Yay!
You know, when your brain just fixates on something, it's like, yeah. So, yeah, very embarrassing. Yeah.
Cool. I love that. That's boss. Okay. Shout out to the grown-ups. I'm going to go first.
Go on then.
I am going to shout out to the staff of the art school. They work unbelievable. So I love good customer service. I just love people who are attentive. I love people who've got manners. I love people who are just there. And I've got to say, I think that's probably the best service that I've ever had in my life. They were, and I've been all over the world. And they were just incredible, but they were also gorgeous and human with it. You know, they weren't like bowing to you. They were natural. They were normal. They were just lovely, lovely, lovely people. So, you know, big shout out to Paul and his team of how they employ and train their staff. Unbelievable.
And you don't need to be subservient to give good customer service. That's what a lot of people don't realise. You don't need to be like that. They're just really good, tip top, and they know the stuff backwards as well. And that they're just so clever. They remember everybody, what people had to drink last time, stuff like that. They're just really good, aren't they?
Yeah, they were brilliant. They were brilliant. So big shout out to all of them. And I want to give a shout out to you, mate.
To who?
You, Sam. Yeah.
Why?
So it was Wednesday, and I thought, oh God, I haven't got any shoes to wear. So I went to Kirk Geiger's website and I looked at 3 pairs of shoes, and I phoned and I was like, are you still in the hairdressers, which conveniently is round the corner from Geigs? So she goes, yeah. She goes, in this order, and sent 3 photographs. I went, will you run in and buy them and I'll transfer the money over? Next thing, gets phone call, got your shoes, mate. So we did a drive-by, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I to help you through the box, and I was like, thanks, go. Yeah, we went. So shout out to you, mate, for getting me my shoes. Thank you very much.
Oh, that was no trouble at all. I didn't keep the bag.
No, I've got it.
It was great. Cool. I want to give a shout out to Emma Tago. Okay, so Emma Tago is Debbie's daughter, which we know from Mode Training, who's also a volunteer school governor. She's got a lot on her plate. She deals with all kinds, and particularly at the moment, she's been absolutely fabulous. And she came to see me today and say, do you need any help with anything? Do you need any support? You know, and I think all these school governors, these people, they just give their time. They don't get a penny for it. They don't get anything out of it. They just volunteer to support others because they think it's a good, right thing to do, you know. And her skill set's absolutely massive, and she's just like an A1 top human. So massive shout out to Emma Tago.
Brilliant. Who do you want to shout out to, Brian?
I'm going to shout out to a team of people from the Liverpool City region, all business owners, leaders, who put on their boots and their best togs and hiked across the Sahara Desert recently to raise a load of money for Nugent. I know them all, and yeah, just incredible. Over 40 grand, I think they've raised collectively as a team. So, yeah, 100K in the Sahara Desert or something.
And you know, Brian, we've had Leon on the show who went. We've had Claire Ellis on the show who went. We've had Howard on the show who went from Novotel as well. And obviously, I know Frankie, Leon's partner, who taught Spanish too. So some really cool people.
Yeah, awesome. Great job.
Brilliant. Massive shout out. Very quickly, book podcast that you're listening to or reading. So I'm still reading Never Split the Difference, which is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm listening to The Psychology of Money, because somebody on our show recommended it. It was Joanne Anderson was reading it.
Sometimes
right.
you can.
I've been listening to Diary of a CEO, and the one I just listened to, the last one, is with Jason, what's his name? Dr. Jordan Peterson. Sorry. Great, really interesting guy. That's all free to access, really good as well.
Excellent. What about you, Brian?
So I've had a re-dive into something from last year, which is Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown. It's just incredible. Just incredible. Just because of some work I was doing on forum training recently. And it's a beautiful thing. If you get the hardback, it's one of them really lovely visual, it's great.
You recommended Brené Brown to me, Brian, the other year, and I read one of the books, and it was so good.
Yeah, she's got a lot of amazing stuff, and she's one of my kind of humans in the world. So yeah, nice.
Brilliant. Well, time has flown as we knew it would. Time has just gone nowhere. So massive thank you to Brian. Brian, we wish you all the success. We know you're going to absolutely smash it with that sort of human.
Yes.
So do you have a closing quote, mantra that you either live by or you want to share with us this evening to close the show?
I do. Thank you. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always had.
100%.
Amazing. Amazing. So we will see everybody next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Why isn't it stopping?
Because you probably haven't switched it off.